7 species of animal and myself are supported by the Math Council Alberta Teachers Association to bring you this maze. The maze takes place between a series of boxes. How can you move from one box to another box? Well, the boxes are filled with some of these animals, exactly 3 in each box. To move from one box to another box, you must make sure that there are some animals in common. So this doesn't work. Is a single animal in common enough? No. In order to move from one box to another, all animals except one have to be the same. So this works because the rabbit and the dove are the only 2 animals that are not the same in both boxes. Time for you guys to do a maze. You're trying to get from the top green to the bottom red. How does this work? Well, from the top green, you can see that there's only one direction that you can go. You can only go to the left. So we're going to do that. Now, where do we go? Well, you can't move down. You can move back again, but that's boring. So we're going to move all the way to the right. There we go. You can move horizontally or vertically, but not diagonally in this maze. We're going to move down now. And you can see now that we're going to successfully complete this maze with the final move. It's now your turn. Try this one. So those of you who are in a higher grade, you can figure out that actually those are all possible combinations of the 3 animals. Yeah. Where do you start? You start in the green and you end in the red. I'm going to give you guys 10 seconds to solve this. I'm joking, just turn off the video to solve it and then come back whenever you're ready for a solution. Ready for the solution? Okay, this is the solution that I found. I think it's probably the only one. There we go, and successfully completed. It's probably the only one in the minimal amount of moves of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think that's the minimal in 6 moves, but you might be able to do extra moves and make it a longer path. This is a fun maze to make, maybe more fun to make these mazes than to solve them. If you are going to make them, you might choose instead of animals to deal with numbers. So this is actually how I created the maze. I just put in the numbers 1 through 7, and then I substituted the animals later on. What you might want to do if you're doing larger mazes is you might want to add a single rule. And I think this single rule will actually make the maze creation even more interesting. In the mazes that you saw, you could move as far as you like. But I think that in large mazes won't be quite as fun as to add an additional rule. And this additional rule is, let's say that you're trying to move back and forth between the far left and the far right. Is it possible? Well, according to the rules that we have had so far, yeah, you can move back and forth because the goldfish and the dove are in common with both. But let's add a new rule. Let's add a rule that you cannot move through an area that has 0 animals in common. Okay, so this means that we can move from the right to the left because there's a rabbit in the central space. But we cannot move from the far left to the right because in this case, there's no animal in common. In that central area, there's no dove, there's no hedgehog, and there's no goldfish. So you can't do that. I think that asymmetry is actually going to create really fun puzzles for those of you who want to really design some complex ones. I would love to see your puzzles. I'd especially like to see them in number form, probably rather than animal form. So please email me, gord@mathpickle.com.